Thursday, May 16th. Welcome to That Betting Show. I'm Ted Savransky at Teddy_Covers on Twitter, joined by special guest host Drew Martin at Drew Martin Bets on Twitter. And before we get into the show, I want to give you guys a hot promo for Bovada. Full Preakness coverage. You get $20 for doing absolutely nothing. All you need to do, sign up for a new account at Bovada. Use the code BOV, Bovada, PS, Preakness Stakes 20. That's BOVPS 20. You get $20 for free betting action at Bovada as long as you sign up by May 18th. Take advantage of this offer, and thank you for spending part of your busy day with us right here on That Betting Show. Let's get into it. Drew, what do we got to start today's show?
Teddy, I'm excited. Stepping in for the great Donnie right side, but we got hot topic of today, Teddy. Bucks take game one, 108-100, a 10-0 run, closes out the Raptors in game one. Of course, we're talking NBA playoffs here, Teddy. And a couple things right before I throw it back to you. We got Leonard and Lowry. They combined for 61 points in the loss for the Raptors. Serge Ibaka was minus 17 in terms of how he was doing on the floor in the 17 minutes he was on the floor, Teddy. We also have Raptors leading by 100-98 at the 3:30 mark of the fourth quarter. Not a good last 3 minutes and 30 seconds there for the Raptors, Teddy.
Was a great last 3 minutes and 30 seconds for me in my bet, as I had Milwaukee, who was not a right side at any point in this ballgame. Brutal beat if you had the Raptors. Plus, they were the right side throughout. However, when you don't score a point over the last 3 minutes and 30 seconds of the game, they even had free throws to take advantage of. No, they didn't score a bucket. And in fact, the last bucket that anyone on the team scored, other than Kyle Lowry, was Siakam's three to close out the third quarter. The rest of the Raptors, besides Lowry, went 0 for 15 from the floor in the fourth. They combined for only 3 free throw attempts between them. We were worried about Kyle Lowry in this series. Lowry played a great fourth quarter. He had every shot, did it on the defensive end. Didn't matter. Raptors, during crunch time, choked it away. And hey, the Bucks played some good ball. Very tough beat, no question. If you had Toronto, and heck, a tough beat in the NHL last night. If you had St. Louis with some refereeing shenanigans that are still very controversial the following morning. But hey, playoffs, sometimes you get the tough beats. There were a pair of them on display last night. Hopefully, you're on the right side of at least one of those two. If you're on the wrong side of both, my condolences.
Absolutely, Teddy. Some of those referee memes on Twitter in the NHL were kind of funny last night. We got the Astros making it 8 in a row, Teddy. Verlander and the Stros closed $3.90, near $4 favorites in the 5-1 win. Verlander, dominant self Wednesday, going 7 innings, giving up just 1 earned run. He improves to 7-1 on the year. Not only does he have a hot girlfriend, he's got a re-erected career here. Houston now at 1, 8 straight games, 11 of 12 overall. Teddy, I'm not looking to bet against this lineup anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm not looking to talk about Justin Verlander's erections either. But yeah. When we talk about books right now, okay, there's 8 straight wins for the Astros. All 8 of them have come on the run line. So you can get away with laying a run and a half. 7 of them at plus price. Yesterday, they were minus 1.5, minus 220 on the road. You don't see that in MLB very often with the run lines. And yet, still not priced high enough. MLB action, they can't price you out of a winner like they can in football or baseball. And the books taking a beating with Astros money of late.
Teddy, we got betting with the Marlins. Rays take down the Marlins 1-0. Marlins close plus 165 at home to the Rays in the Sunshine Series. It seems no matter who's really on the mound for the Marlins, they can't score enough to even get value. No matter the juice, this lineup really can't hit anybody, Teddy. Marlins have scored 2 or less runs in 10 of their last 11 games, including back-to-back shutouts.
Yeah, they left 11 men on base yesterday, and they went 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. You ain't going to win many games like that, and they're doing it day after day after day. I had an opportunity to talk with Jeff Davis from Caesars Sportsbook here in Las Vegas yesterday, and he was talking about putting up a prop. This is the Miami team that's, 10-31 now? They're on pace to be worse than the worst team in MLB history, the 1962 New York Mets, who finished 40 and 120. Davis saying they might put up a prop at Caesars to see if the Marlins will actually be worse than the Mets. That's the way they're playing the first quarter of the season.
Teddy, let's talk a little NFL team preview here. Let's talk the Atlanta Falcons, just a couple years removed from their Super Bowl bid. Falcons sit 33-1 to win this year's Super Bowl, 16-1 to win the NFC. Their team win total is sitting at 8.5, pretty much market wide right now. Protecting the quarterback was the name of the game for the Falcons in 2009 NFL draft, electing to go with offensive line twice in the first round. Freeman back healthy in 2019 will be added boost to go along with a dominant wide receiver core. They got Jones, Ridley, and Sanu. What are you thinking here with the Falcons?
Well, I mean, last year was nothing but a disappointment for Atlanta. I mean, they had injuries all over the football, but particularly on defense, and the defense wasn't good. The offense, 6.2 yards per play last year. That's a top 5 offense in the league, but the D allowed 6 yards per play. That's a bottom 5 defense. They didn't run the ball all that well. They really couldn't stop the run. 0.4 yards per rush between what they gained and what they allowed. From a turnover perspective, nothing much to talk about. They were +1 for the season. Matt Ryan last year, QBR of 108. That's good. Defense allowed 98. That's not good, but it's not disastrous. Worth noting, last year, a much easier than average schedule. They still finished with a losing record. This year, their schedule upgrade is notable and significant. Was really 4 teams that we talk about with dramatic SOS toughness upgrades. Talked about Chicago early in the week. Atlanta's another one. Miami and Houston are 2 other teams that face much tougher schedules this year than they did last year, which you have to be aware of. All that being said, boy, yeah, I love the offseason moves the Falcons made. I really do. Not worried about flashy, not worried about skill position talent. They're loaded. You talk about the receiving core. You talk about Matt Ryan. What they needed was help in the trenches and help on defense, and that's exactly what they got. The other thing they needed was to get rid of Steve Sarkisian, which is exactly what they did. Sarkisian out the door. Dirk Cutter's going to be calling the plays this year, the offense coordinator for Atlanta. And you talk about the 2 first-rounders in the offensive line. Let's not forget their 2 big free agent signings were also on the offensive line, Jamin Brown and James Carter, along with Luke Stalker at tight end. But you know, when you look at this offensive line, they could have as many as 4 new starters on that OL. If that unit comes together as it's supposed to, Atlanta's going to put up points in bunches. The defense should be a good notch or 2 better than it was last year, even though their schedule's tough. I'm a little bit bullish on the Falcons this year. I wouldn't be surprised if this team ends up being a Super Bowl contender.
I like it, Teddy. I'm with you. And let's go to segment 2, overnight line movers. We got Orioles, losers of 6 of 7 heading into the Indian series. Bowers and the Indians reaching -300 now. Looks like total of 9 in this one. We got Straley, we got Bauer. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I mean, the money's coming against Straley every time he comes to the Hill right now. You know, we talked about it last week when he was facing the Angels. The money poured in on the Angels, and Straley gave up another 6 runs in 4 1/3. When you look at the advanced metrics on this guy, it's a fly baller who doesn't get strikeouts, and it's strike 1, strike 2. The markets hate him. Throwing the tired veteran retread, and boom, you can count on money coming in against Straley in just about every start. And, of course, the bullpen behind him is a disaster. The Orioles have allowed a major league worst 89 homers. They're coming off an ugly doubleheader loss against the Yankees. And it's an Indians team that, oh, by the way, finally woke up offensively. You know, they have 2nd worst batting average, 3rd lowest run total. Well, they pounded out 9 against the White Sox yesterday. So the offense at least starting to show signs of coming around.
Teddy, let's talk this total in Atlanta. We're talking about the Cardinals versus the Braves. We're seeing double digits early on Thursday, total of 10. Looks like the Braves -110 here. Wainwright versus Tehran. We got Cardinals, Braves. What do you like, Teddy?
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about this total moving up, and it's been a pretty significant total move, a lot of times when we see the total, it's like, all right, the markets hate this guy. They've been betting against this guy. This guy's got bad advanced metric stats. They're looking to fade him. I don't see that for this. I don't, Wainwright has been mediocre, but you read his quotes, I mean, coming off a 7-inning effort last time out against Pittsburgh, his quote, last year it was, how do I survive? How do I find a way to get through 5 innings for this team? This year, my attitude is back to making pitches, executing pitches, and seeing how far you can go. So the quotes from Wainwright are good. His recent result is good. Tehran's been good his last 2 starts. So this is one instance where, frankly, I don't want to give you guys BS. When I know a reason a line's moving, when I got a good guess, I'll tell you. I don't know who the heck's betting this over. I don't know why they're doing it, but they've done it. Money pouring in on the over in early betting action on Thursday.
Absolutely. We've got another one here. Twins getting early line action on Thursday. Side opens around -105 and is on the rise. We're seeing it -110 for the Mariners. Total 9.5. Pineda versus Swanson. We got Twins versus the Mariners, Teddy.
Yeah, a little bit of love for Minnesota in this ballgame. Some of it, I think, has to do with Miguel Sano. Activated off the injured list. He has not played yet this season. Missed the first 42 games. Remember, this is a guy who got hurt during his celebration when the Dominican team won the Winter League Championship. He ripped up his heel and has been sitting ever since. And he wasn't an impact player last year. He hit just 199 in 71 games. But Miguel Sano is a star waiting to happen, and the markets recognize that right away. And it's certainly not like the markets are particularly excited about Eric Swanson, 1-4 with an ERA over 6 for Seattle.
Teddy, let's move on to watch what you bet. Western Conference Finals in the game 2 in Oakland. We got Trailblazers. We got the Warriors. The Warriors laying 7.5. Total of 219 now. Money line plus 270, -330 the opposite way. We're talking 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN in Oracle Arena. Trailblazers 51-44 against the number on the season, 18-21 ATS as a dog, 13-20 ATS as a road dog on the season. On the other side, the Warriors 41-53 against the spread, 36-48 ATS on the season as a favorite. Last one up, 19-28 against the number at home this year.
Yeah, and they weren't good, in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs at home at Oracle, losing games, failing to cover point spreads, failing to win by margin. That wasn't the case in game 1 of this series. Well, that had a lot to do with what Portland brought to the table. The Blazers looked tired from the get-go, and when Golden State went on their run in the fourth quarter, Portland just didn't have the energy or the execution to match them. Not a good game from Damian Lillard. The biggest difference, well, there are a bunch of big differences, but one of the biggest differences that I saw from Golden State in game 1 was the fact that Steve Kerr was willing to go to his bench. He didn't use his bench against the Rockets. He didn't use him much against the Clippers. Well, they had 8 guys coming off the bench in the game 1 win. A couple were in garbage time, but 6 guys had double-digit minutes. Kevin Looney, Sean Livingston showing signs of life. These are non-factors earlier on in the series. Quinn Cook came off the bench and played really well. Steve Kerr's quote, "This series feels like it's a series where we can play more people. It's a different matchup." And I think that's what you saw Tuesday, is what we'd like to get every night if we can, in terms of playing 10 or 11 guys. Jonas Jerebko played well the other night. Jordan Bell played well. Portland can't match that depth, and that's going to be an issue for the Blazers moving forward. Now, we have to think that Portland's going to be able to do a little bit better offensively here. They had 21 turnovers. They shot 36% from the floor. It was not a good offensive game plan. And of course, defensively, the Blazers' lack of switching. Remember, Houston switched on every pick. That's not what Portland did. Steph Curry went nuts from 3-point range. Klay Thompson had a big game. I don't know how Terry Stotts is going to approach the defensive matchups for tonight against the Warriors. I'm not convinced that he has any good answers. And until I see that Portland has a chance to have a defensive answer to some of the things that Golden State wants to do, I don't really have an interest in backing the Blazers plus the points, even off a no-show game in game 1.
Teddy, heading to the NL Central in the Great American Ballpark. We got the Reds hosting the Cubs. Cubs 25-15 on the year. They're really coming along. And the Reds just sitting at 19-24. We got Quintana. We got Castillo. And I'll tell you, Teddy, I have no interest in betting against this guy, Luis Castillo. One of the best pitchers in all of baseball, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he's allowed 2 runs or less in 7 of his 8 starts this season. He's been really good and consistent. And Cincinnati's been winning for him, although they have lost 2 of his last 3 trips to the hill. But the Reds did something last night they haven't done since last August, a walk-off win. And you talk about momentum and what it means. Momentum doesn't mean a ton in baseball, but the momentum of a walk-off win for a team that hasn't had one yet this year and hasn't had one since last August, it's meaningful. And Yasiel Puig, who's been struggling, was the guy who had the game-winning hit. That's a positive sign for Cincinnati. Of course, the Cubs aren't hitting. They've been scored, 5 runs or less now, 9 straight games. So we're not seeing the offensive outbursts. They've averaged just 3 runs a game over the last 7. Joe Madden, quote, "We have to do a much better job than we did today. I also believe that more consistent hitting provides the energy. I think there was a little frustration among the guys. That's what we've got to get beyond. You're frustrated going in. Not going to be easy to get going against Castillo, especially without Anthony Rizzo. He's been out missing, the last 3 games. He's not likely to shoot up again today. Quintana, Cubs have been winning for him. They won 4 of his last 5. Gave up only 4 hits last time out against Milwaukee in 6 2/3, but ended up losing the game. He's got a decent track record against Cincinnati at the Great American Ballpark. But right now, we're talking about the starting pitching matchup. Castillo, bet on. Quintana, not so much.
Teddy, we got one more on the diamond here. Struggling Stroman looks to bounce back. Talking about Marcus Stroman. Blue Jays, White Sox. White Sox minus 131. Total of 9.5 here. Guarantee rate field in Chicago, Illinois. Blue Jays 17-25 on the year. 9-12 away from home. White Sox also under 500, sitting at 19-22. Just 9-11 at home, Teddy. We got Stroman. We got Covey. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a ton of over money for this game, and frankly, I don't disagree with that assessment. Dylan Covey, he got lit up at Toronto last Friday. 4 runs in 4 2/3, 5 walks, 2 dingers allowed. This is a problem for Covey. I'm not convinced he's going to be an ace at any time soon. Rick Renteria, quote, "He's going to continue to get better, I believe, and we'll continue to trust as time goes on that he'll be able to eat up more innings. Right now, he can't. Expect plenty of bullpen action for Chicago here." That being said, Marcus Stroman's 1-6. He's coming off a lousy effort in his last ball game, and it's a White Sox team that took 2 out of 3 at Toronto last week. Blue Jays went 1-5 in that homestand. They got outscored 35-8. I don't want Toronto right now. Plain and simple. This is a team heading in the wrong direction. However, it is worth noting, they finally got something from Vlad Guerrero after being held to 2 runs or less in 6 of the previous 7 on Tuesday. And then yesterday, they lose again, held to only 3 runs in the loss to San Fran. This Blue Jays team is headed in the wrong direction rather quickly.
Teddy, let's talk segment 4 off the mic. Going to New York. Are we having fun yet in NYC? Jets after big spending spree in free agency. Talking about the front office here, Teddy, some rumors going around that might not be so good about the New York Jets. We got the old GM out. Adam Gase wins the power struggle. Talking Darren Lee was moved to Kansas City as Gase's first move since being named the general manager. Should be interesting. When Bell shows up, talks to the media with rumors swirling that Gase didn't want to sign the Pro Bowl running back. A lot going on here in New York. Not sure what to think.
Yeah, we can make fun of the Jets. I'll give you a hint,
right.
Okay? You have a GM who hires a coach, and then you fire the GM and let the coach make the personnel decisions, and then now you're going to hire another GM. It's typical Jets. There's a reason this franchise doesn't make Super Bowls. There's a reason that the Patriots dominate the AFC East. You hire a GM first. Let the GM get his coach. Let the coach get his personnel. Problem solved. Jets find a way to do it backwards. And you can see the writing on the wall already. All right, Le'Veon Bell, amazing talent, but a locker room issue in Pittsburgh. That's why they let him go. Already seeing signs of that in New York City. And in New York City, the media glare is sharp and strong. Good luck, Gase. It's going to be a heck of a season. And look, there's talent for the Jets. They're not a hopeless team going into 2019. A lot of issues to be concerned about when it comes to personnel for a team that, again, the media glare for football in New York is ridiculous. I don't know how well Adam Gase's personnel moves are going to stand out in that regard.
Well said, Teddy. And last segment, right?
That's it, baby. We wrapped it up.
All right.
Another That Betting Show in the books for Thursday. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend with Drew and I right here on That Betting Show, sportsbookreview.com. We'll be back again tomorrow. Do it all over again in 20 minutes or less.